This conference will now be recorded.
So good morning, guys. We'll start in a couple of minutes. Most of the people are Christmas holidays. Okay, we'll get started. So last week we seen what Scrum, how it works, what are the different activities we do in Scrum, right? So product backlog, sprint planning, and then assigning to different people, and then we also talked about burn down chats, etc. But we did not see it actually. So and in the as part of Scrum process, we created a product backlog which contains some features, sorry, epics features, product backlog items, and then tasks. So that's what we created, and we also created a relationship between all these things because it's always about a parent-child relationship, epic, and then a feature, and then product backlog, and then your task. Okay. Likewise, you will have a number of features, product backlogs, and tasks. So now we will go and see the next part is we basically prioritize the requirements, right? So requirements are nothing but your features or task, whatever it is. So we prioritize them. So let us say we have 2 months project plan. I mean 2 months project duration. We will make it 4 sprints, means each sprint is 2 weeks, and then that's the original plan. So high level, right? The next one is now for each sprint, what you going to do, what are the different people are going to do, those things we need to plan it. And then we also need to mention how many hours a person is working, what is the total team capacity, and what are the holidays. So when you configure all these things, you can easily track it actually. Okay. So the reason somebody asked, right, will a DevOps engineers do this in real time? You probably have to do it because this is a kind of configuration, right? You will, all these will be uploaded to you only in future because the management guy will go and take care of, because he also need to take now, he probably be taking care of only 1 or 2 projects, but in future he will be taking in 10-15 projects because of cost cuttings, and obviously he has to offload his work to the other people. So developers obviously they don't take it because they are busy with them, and the DevOps engineers, So you are setting up the environments and you are giving the permissions, and it doesn't include any logical activities. We don't need to write code, right? That's why it will already this is been uploaded in many companies. So people are doing it actually. So that's the reason, though we can directly get into code management or the CI/CD. So I also included this planning activity as part of your DevOps, because it hardly takes 5 6 hours. You don't need to worry about in future. You already know it because you're already working, but all you need to know is how to configure, how these are becoming available to the project managers for tracking purpose. Okay. Now we know many things in bits and pieces. Now we will club it and see how it works. So first, let me get into my Azure portal. So I'm going to the Azure portal, and from there I'm logging into my Azure DevOps portal basically. For a couple of days we'll go like this, and after that we directly log into DevOps portal directly. So I logged into my Azure DevOps, cloud portal, and from there, from the frequently used services, I use Azure DevOps. As we said, it will go to my homepage, go to my Azure DevOps organizations. Since I'm having a number of organizations, I own number of divisions, so I have a number of organizations. So, but in that, you guys are part of Azure DevOps 8 a.m. demo session. This is organization you are part of. So we already created 2 projects, and we are using 8 a.m. demo project. And after that, in boards, last week we created a work items. So these are the some of the work items we created. Uh, you don't need to read all these things. You simply remember these icons. I mean, that will tell you which is a epic, which is a feature, which is a task. Yellow is a task actually. And then product backlog item looks like your notepad symbol. So this is easy to remember. Now we have the product backlog item, as we said. Now let's go ahead and plan actually. Before doing the planning, first you need to know how many teams are working, right? So that's the first test. Okay. Some people say, okay, I have the web application development. So obviously you need some DB guy, DB team, and you need some front end team who will develop the web. And you need if it is some complex engagement, probably you might have a number of product teams as well. But simplicity, we will take 3 teams: one DB team, one web team, and one build team, let us say. Or we will say build anyways. These guys are there. These guys are configuring. Don't worry. So we'll create a web, DB, and some services team. So how do you create teams? You go to project settings, and then you have teams. So this 8 a.m. demo team is a default team created when we created the project. Okay, you can use it, or you can create your own team. So last session we created a dev team. Now we'll go on. So by default, right, when you create a team, whoever is creating that team will be part of that team. Okay, and then you will go and add your own users. Okay, now I'll go and add another team called DB team. I can straight away add members here, and by default, the logged in user or the person who is creating is a part of this one. I will add one more person. Right now, I have one person availability. This one. So I added that developer, and if the more and more developers are joining, you can go and add people to this one. Okay, and then I'm already administrator here, and I'm giving the permission as a contributor. Okay, and I am selecting this checkbox, create an area. As I told you, this is for the reporting purposes, tracking purposes. I'm creating an area for them as well. So in future, if I want to query, or if I want to retrieve all the effort that is being spent by the DB developers, then I can go ahead and say, okay, get the effort utilization from this area. That's it. So that's how it becomes easy basically. Just go and create. So for simplicity, let's keep these 2 teams, though we spoke about multiple things. So I created dev team and DB team. Now what's next? See, if I go back to my, I'll open multiple tabs for easiness. Let me close this. Let me close this. Then let me close this. So I'll just go and open one more tab, this project 8am demo. So now we added a team. Now we have the backlogs. So now we want to do some more stuff. You need to set up the schedules, etc. Okay. So to set up those schedules, now we created a team, right? So in reality, what happens? Now you defined 2 months duration and 8 days. But in reality, when you are doing a project execution, you will not have all the team members from day one, right? You basically have some business analyst and a couple of developers and an architect. So that means you basically have one dev team with few people, and slowly your testers will be added. In few companies, if the testing should start from day one, they will start from day one. I mean, from the first sprint. In few companies, they may start from the sprint two, like that. So you have that ability, right, in real time. So you have to do the same thing here as well. It based on your, the way you work actually. So now I will go and configure my dev team when they will start working actually. So go to dev team, open this. Now I see I have these people actually, and then you can do many things here. You see notifications dash we were talking about, right? How the notifications to be sent. You can do it from multiple places. Okay, so earlier we were going to notifications and sections, and we were doing it, right? Since we already created teams, those links are already available here. So you don't need to search for all those things. Okay, this is now secondary item for me. My first stuff here is now to create some shit. How they when they work and what they work, etc. So you have iterations and area paths. The link, you go here. It will open another window. So first, if you are working for Middle East companies, your working days will be till Thursday. Friday is a holiday there. Friday, Saturday. For the rest of the other countries, it will be Monday to Friday. So if you want to define your holidays or working days, you can define here, because all these are very important for you, because based on these settings, your project report will be publishing actually. So you will mention, and this is some uh, visualization purpose. You want to see features, backlog items in the reports, or epics as well. Most of the times, epics are not required, because people are working at the features or tasks, etc. Okay. And then there is something about bugs. We will talk about these bugs. You can create bugs, you can associate bugs with the features, the tasks, or product backlog items. You can configure it the way you want. So that's not a big deal. We don't talk about it now. So these are the things in general section for the boards. And then you have iterations. Okay. This is nothing but your sprints actually. So let's go ahead and add some iteration here. I'm saying this team will work on sprint one, save and close, and I'm saying this team will also work in sprint two as well. Okay, this team will also work in sprint three also. Now I define that this okay, I selected demo, right? I should be selecting my team actually. That's okay. We'll add one more person. Okay. I have come here. We'll go again. Okay. So now I mentioned that my demo team is working for sprint one, sprint two, sprint three. Now I will go and set the dates as well when the sprint starts, each sprint. So simply double click it, and you can say I'll start. Select this start. Of course, I'm selecting the past date just for easiness, and then I'm closing in the next week. Okay, and in the similar way, you can set the dates for sprint two. So I'll start from January's second week. Okay, and it calculated already a week, but I'm just going to, it's already sprint is by default 2 weeks, right? It basically selected, you can change it or leave it as it is, save and close. So likewise, I can set up the dates actually. Okay, so we selected this area, right? Okay, this 8 a.m. Oh, sorry, dev team is a part of this 8 a.m. demo actually. This is the area I created when I created the dev team actually. Now this is templates. Don't worry for the time being. This is how we were reporting or something looks like, or how you see your items on the dashboards, what you're working on. I'll just leave it for the timing as it is. First we do the planning part actually. So now I am done with all these things. Let's go to my team and then see. We've seen the work items, right? Now I'm not going to work items. Let's go to boards. So the default view for your boards is a backlog view basically. So this view is called backlog. Okay, and we are having different teams, right? Now I am seeing the backlog of dev team. Okay, we have different teams here. You can click on this menu, and then if I want to see the backlogs of some DB team, you click on DB team. I haven't assigned anything to the DB team, that's why it is showing empty. Okay, and if I want to see dev team, I can see this one. Okay, now something is being created for dev team. Okay, and let's do for DB team as well. We can directly create the work items from here as well. Okay, now I am in DB team. I want to create something for him. So let's go and create a new work item. So I'm just doing these things because you will come to know you can create work items from anywhere using all these different things. Okay, since I'm in the backlog, right? So it will be a product backlog. So you can only create a backlog item. You cannot create a feature. So that's the reason it is showing product backlog or the bug, not a feature or anything. Okay, I simply create some item called DB team product backlog requirement. So you will have options called add to bottom or add to top. That means you are having, let us say, 10 items. You are creating some item. You want to keep it on the top or the bottom. You can select that one. Or if you want to keep it somewhere else in the middle, you can simply drag and drop. Actually, let us say you have 4 items. You want to make a third item as a first item. You can drag and drop. Those features are also available. That's not a big deal. Okay, so if you want, so now I'm in the backlog item view, right? Okay, so I'm just showing it here because in future you will get confused where you are here, which view you are looking at. So on the right hand side you see, right? Now I am in the backlog view basically. If I want to go to features view, it will go like this. So this is showing empty, right? The reason I haven't created any backlog item feature here. That's why it is showing empty. I can create a feature. I can create from top or here. I would simply say new work item, and then I say that's it. So now you can navigate like this. I can either you can see features view or you can see backlog views, and I can navigate between different teams as well, like dev team, etc. And now dev team, I am seeing backlog item view, and if I want to change, I can do features view. Along with this, along with this, you have this is a tabular manner, right? This is a tabular manner. We also talked about in our sprint planning. We also can see boards. It's not showing. Okay. On top side, you see the taskboards, right? We were talking about sticky notes being added to your whiteboards, right? So you also need to have the boards as well. So that board, so you have this view. Now you are in the tabular view. If you want to see them as a boards view, you can simply click on view as board. So it will come in this view, and you have the different stages, new, in progress, and done, because these are the features. And if I change it to backlog items, the stages now will change. Instead of in progress, done, etc., it will change. The changes will be changed to relevant to your backlog items. If you see the backlog item, now it is a new, approved, committed, done. Okay, now I have one backlog item in the new stage actually. I can create items from here as well. Okay, now I go ahead and create for a dev team one more backlog item. How I can do, I can simply click on new item, and then I can say dev team. So I can simply create from here as well. Okay, and while you are doing your planning, right, you now this is in the new mode, right? When you are doing your planning, you move, you change the status, right, in the Excel sheet. In the same way, first, in order to assign this backlog to some person, your product owner or someone has to approve it. Okay, this can be taken for the sprint execution. How we can do, I mean, somebody can go ahead and drag and drop like this, or you can change the, you can open it and you can change the status as well. Let us say I'll open this backlog item, and then I will have options here, state, you can change it here as well. Okay, so let us say I'll say committed. Now it is in first box, now it will be moved to the last, save and close. So likewise, you can create an item from here and you can change the statuses there and here like this. So this is how you work with your boards, and then backlog items and different views, feature view, and then your backlog view. Still, we haven't configured the capacity basically. Like what's the capacity of your team? How many members are working, and when they are working. So let us say I'm an architect, right? So I primarily do the architectures and designs, and probably sometime I do some maintenance work as well based on the need. And if it is a developer or a lead, he may work for 2 hours in the for the design activities, another 6 hours for the development activities. So if it is the manual way of working, it is not easy to track like this. Nobody can give such kind of metrics, right? Simply say I worked on design and development for 8 hours today, but that will not come in report actually. So, but since you are using tools, it is easy for you to do all that stuff. Now I'll go and do some stuff.
Hey Purnachandra, this is Vamshi.
Yeah, please.
I didn't join like last 3 to 4 classes. Today was my first class only. I just went through the recordings.
Okay.
So I just want to understand like until now, is there anything like a major things we covered? Because what I see from today class is like it was pretty much simple to the same thing what we do in like Jira or like a CHL Central.
You are right. You are right.
So
Yeah. So today,
yeah,
because we are following the sequence, that is the software development lifecycle phases. That means planning, I mean requirements management, and then coding, etc.
okay,
As part of that one,
okay,
started with the planning phase. So that's where we talked about a Scrum, and then we created the product backlog, and then now we
okay.
are doing the prioritization, etc. So this is similar to the Jira, but that is a Jira tool, right? And this is the Azure boards and
Yeah,
the Azure DevOps.
okay, okay. So until now we covered only these things. No
Exactly.
major
Yeah.
things
So we
covered.
will be
Okay,
starting. Yeah, we will be starting Azure Repos, which is a code management or source control management or version control from tomorrow
okay,
mostly. Okay.
okay,
So basically, we haven't started any technical things because we're still in the planning phase. Okay.
okay, okay. Sure.
You are asking something.
Can we move the task between the teams? Let's say by mistake we take a task.
You can move it. You can move it. So one of the easiest way to do is, okay, so you can do it from multiple places, right? First you have to open the task, whatever it is, be it a requirement or instead of task we will say, because task is another item, right? We will say work item. Okay, so you can open work item from anywhere, wherever you are. Let us say I open this work item, which is a product backlog item. Okay, now it's been assigned to, so you have this area, right? Now it's been assigned to dev team actually. If I want to change it, I can apply this to dev team. Okay, that's it. So now it's been moved, you see, it's not available. So it's instant basically. Now let's go and check the DB team.
Even the approved work items.
See, it's been the DB team task. You see, it's been moved to your DB team. Yeah, you can change it because these are all the possible things in your project development. So sometimes, let us say, I am doing this, what is say, approved. I approved it today, but tomorrow I may change my mind. I still should be able to move it back to the new state, so that this will not be picked by some people. Okay, so you can do it. All those things, all you need to do is just open your work items and see what options you need to change it actually. Okay, so this is how your you work with your backlogs. So you can assign to the people, and you can move between different stages of your backlog items or features. So your backlog items, you see, you have 4 different stages as of now: new, approved, committed, and done. And it is also showing how many are there in that. See, one of, if you see approved, right, 1 out of 5 means you basically have a 5 different product backlog items, but one is in the approved state. That's what it is saying. That's how you can read it actually. And committed 0 of 5. Done means once you are done with the development, then you move it to the done stage actually. So this you have to do it manually. So these are the different views available for the boards. Now still we haven't done much. So you go to the analytics. These things will look empty. Your cumulative diagrams, velocity diagrams. We talk about it. What is this? Let's leave it like this. Now what's the next one? Sprint actually. So we configure the teams when they will work, and then we configured, we changed some attributes, and we see in backlog views, and we moved the items between different stages. Now we are in the sprint one. We need to plan the sprint actually now. So let's, the configuration is required. It is simply showing. Let's go and click on team sprint. So for DB, we did not set it, right? We went from the dev team, that's why it is showing. Let's go demo. And then sprints. So when you, I directly went from DB team view to the sprint. That's why it is showing you don't have anything to configure. Okay. So, but if you land directly on the sprint side, it will show everyone. So it is showing, you see, you have the sprints, and then we configure sprints for the dev team, right? That's why it is showing dev team sprints. And also you will have the different options here. Now I'm just going to configure my, do some configuration. That means, capacity, available capacity for the team, available capacity for the resources, etc. So first I will go by dev team. So let's click on dev team. First see the options here. Got it. So this is a taskboard which is empty, and then backlogs, still you have the empty. Capacity, you haven't configured anything. I have 2 people here, myself and one more person, and then you are having analytics. Let's go and do few things here. Go to taskboard. Now I am configuring sprint 1. This is part of your sprint planning actually. Now I'm doing something for sprint one. I'm in sprint one, and now you can directly go and take product items from your existing product backlog, or you can create new items as well. So you have the both the features. Now I am scheduling from my existing backlog. Okay. So when I go here, I'm having only one product backlog here. I just want to create one more. Okay. Let's go and create one more. That's it. Now let's plan it actually. So let's open this backlog. You can expand as well. If you have any child items, it will display if you expand it. Okay. Let's open this. So how I move this product, this is now in the product backlog. Now I need to move it to the sprint. So that means then it will become sprint backlog. How I can move? You have the iteration here, right? So earlier we set the areas where I'm saying this team will work on it. Now I will move it to sprint one. You click on iteration drop down and you can select sprint. Okay. You can give the, you can configure these things. Let us say you give some values like 16. Basically we should have done earlier, or we can do now as well, because we are planning it now. Now save and close.
Hi, Panchandra, this is Nag here. I have a question for you on the edit item.
Yeah.
Can you click on any one of the item?
Okay.
If I want to customize these fields, okay, how do you do it?
Yeah, this is you customize means you want to add a new field.
Yeah, add a new one or removing existing one.
Yeah, you can do it. So if you worked with TFS or VSTS, it is same for even Azure DevOps as well. So basically, it gives if it is TFS, you can do it using workflows in right from the TFS itself, because that is running from your local servers. Since it is Azure DevOps, it is running on PaaS. So it will give you an SDK where you can go ahead and create your work items, and you can even change the flows as well, from which stage it can move to other stage. This is a development activity. You have to create an extension, and then you have to deploy them to the your organization. Then it will be made available here. So if you want, I can give the documentation, but you need a developer help there.
Yeah, I just want to know the like if I want to customize the existing items.
Yeah.
If you can,
So
it'll be good.
yeah, you can do it, but it takes time because you need to develop it actually. You need to. So it looks like exactly you might be creating some workflows. If you are a .NET, you might be using workflow foundation. If you are some other CRM guy, you might be doing some drag and drops and making the flow charts actually. It looks in the similar way, but you have to use that SDK and develop it and then make it available. You need to publish it to your Azure DevOps, then it will be made available here.
Yeah, if you can share the documentation, that will be great.
No problem. I can point you to that. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So whatever you see, right, all these things can be customized. Okay. So I moved that to sprint. If I open now, you want to see what's being moved to sprint, right? Let's click on the sprint here. Sprint one. I have one already here. Okay. And I will show you some other stuff here as well. Okay. Let's move my items actually. Backlog, that is a task board. And then let's open second backlog item. This is what we just moved, right? And we given, let's give a effort as well here. Let us say another 16 here. First backlog item. This is already in sprint one. So this is 16 hours and that is 16 hours. Now, before we get into the capacity and other stuff, let's see some options here. You see now here some planning, etc., right? You see sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3 what we created, and we can create sprint right from here as well. And since we already set up the dates for sprints, sprint 1 and sprint 2, it is showing like 12/23 to January 3rd, 10 working days. And the effort that is planned for this sprint is 32 hours, because right now I opened two product backlog items. I given 16 hours and 16 hours. The total effort is the total capacity effort for this sprint is 32 hours. This is what I planned as of now. So that is what it is showing here. Okay, and this is for dev team. Okay, now let's go and see some options here. So you have this track symbol. Click on this one. Now you see this pane, right? This is a planning pane which shows all the sprints. You have other view, that is work details. Right now it is showing empty because we haven't set up the capacity. Okay, we will see show the capacity, set the capacity, and you see how it changes. The option is work details. By default it will go to planning, which shows all the sprints for this team, and you can change it to work details. Let's go and do the some capacity. Okay, so what I want to do, this is a January, the sprint is from this week till the Jan 3rd, right? I want to take off on Jan 2nd actually. Okay, before that what I do, since I am an architect, I just want to mention that I work on design aspects, and per day I work for 2 hours on design. Okay, and if I want to add one more, let's go add an activity. And the same person, I want to do development for 6 hours a day. Likewise, you can set up the resources who will do what for how many hours in a day. So you are basically mentioning the capacity. Okay, now I will say Sureka, I will say documentation 6 hours, and I want her to do one more activity every day as well. Add an activity. I would say maybe requirements elicitation. I would say 2 hours. Like this, I mentioned what a person do, what are the different activities he will do every day. Now I also want to put my vacation as well, because if you are working in a Scrum, from day one itself they will ask you, do you have any leave plan, right? So you will set up here how I can do. You can do the, if let us say you're going for a team outing, the entire team is an outing, right? That is enough. You can do at that level, or I can do at a person level as well. So right now Purnachandra is 0 days off. Just I'm planning my vacation here. So I would say from Jan 1st I am leave, and then Jan 2nd also I am on leave. So total days leave are 2 days. That's it. Now let's save it actually. Okay, now I done my capacity estimation. Okay, now let's go back to your backlog. Now I am in which mode? Planning mode. If I go to planning mode, this is what you see. Okay, now if I go to work details, earlier it was empty. Now it is showing lot stuff here. You see different areas. Yeah, so the team, what is the team capacity? 96 hours is the team capacity, because now both the people are working for 2 weeks and one person is on off for 2 days. It is calculated, the number of hours calculated basically. Okay, and then these backlog items I kept it under different. I mean, my time, right? It is spread across multiple activities: design, development, documentation, and then one more item, requirements. So you can see the reports work by activity. So for design there were 10 hours, for development there were 30 hours, for documentation there are 42 hours, for requirements there were 14 hours. Okay, this is the total capacity. You are spreading, I mean you can see it at this level. And then I haven't assigned actually. Did you see? 0. You see Purnachandra Rao Dadke, 0 of 40 hours. For this week, I mean I have 40 hours basically, and 0 is assigned. I mean, I don't have any assigned task. In the same way, you can see for her. Now I will go and assign this to, let us say, open this product backlog item. Now I will assign this to, so you have this unassigned, right? Now go ahead and select, okay, and this is 16 hours basically, and I assign this to Sureka, and then just close it. Just refresh it. This should be changed. This is assigned to, should have been changed actually. It should have been changed to 16 hours. It did not change. Is she part of dev team? Yes, I guess. Let's assign this to, again, to her, and then make the state change approved, and then simply say save and close. Oh, it has to change actually. Now I send actually 32 hours. It has to change. It should become, instead of 0 56, it should become some other actually. Nothing is changing. 7 days remaining. Let me. It's been assigned. It's been reflecting. Okay, let's move it to. It's fine. Huh. Not sure. Yes, I'm just checking why it is not changing. I mean, sprint one only. I mean, everything. Teams. Yeah, I'm here. Sprints. Should have been changed. So let me change it to.
No, actually the status is committed already. Change the status.
It should come actually, whether it is committed or something. Be it committed or something, still it is assigned to me actually. That is assigned to me because this status will change as you are working in the project. One day it will be, or 2 days it will be like this. It will change, but that still it is assigned to me. That's what I'm checking why it is not changing. It should be changing. And I should be getting the other person as well here. I should be getting the other person name as well to show it. Probably I made some mistake. Let me go to my teams. If I go to teams and then I have both the people available here. So should be getting there. Is it because these are design and development, right? Okay, okay. Let me see. Let me add one task here basically. Let me go to work items. and then open my task, and then this task, let me add it to, let me change this to sprint 1. This task is linked with the first product backlog item, feature 1, and change this to this person, and then now I done some changes to task. Go to sprint, should come here actually, or let me add. I think there is some issue with my this one. Okay, design. Sorry, she is working on the requirements and documentation. Let us say 8 hours. Okay, the least level is a task, right? Basically, people work on the task, and these tasks are linked with the product backlog items. So, but I did not, the whatever is the task, I mean, the product backlog item assigned to the person doesn't have any task actually. So that's the reason it is not changing. And also another thing, what I mentioned in the capacity, right? For this person, I given documentation and requirements are the activities. So if my tasks are in a different category, it will not get reflected. So I was just troubleshooting where I went wrong actually. Okay. So what I did was I created a task, and then I added to the feature, and then I assigned it to that person. And I also ensured that the task is under requirements category or the design category, because Sureka is can work only on the requirements or the design. If it is a different thing, it will not be available there. So let's go to again capacity view, sorry, backlog view, and then you see now it is changed everything. We will talk about this, why this comes green or why this comes red. Okay, because sometimes we will slip the timelines as well. Okay, we will talk about it. First, let's read this actually. Basically, this person is having 56 hours of capacity for this sprint. Okay, out of that 8 hours task is being assigned to her. That's how you read it actually. And to this person I haven't assigned anything, but still he is also having 56 hours. The reason I removed that off vacation actually, if I add that vacation, it will again get reduced. Okay, this is one view assigned to, I mean assigned to who, I mean who and all. And then you can see the planning, I mean work details by category as well. How many are there in the design category, development category, documentation, requirements category, and this is by total team actually. So you can make it red as well. Currently she is being assigned for 8 hours, right? And if I make her capacity less than 8 hours, right? Let us say, how I can make it, one simple way is I can make probably I'll go and from day one I started here, right, sprint, and then it will end here. She is off 10 days, and then save. Now go to backlog. Still she is working for 1 day. Let me make this task, right? There is a one task which I just created. This is a task I created, test task, right? Let me open and make this is as a 16 hours. It is okay. this is not going great because still I have team who can take that work actually. Okay, because there is 56. I just planned only 16 hours, right? But total team capacity is 56 hours. Okay, if the sprint capacity is more than available team capacity, then this will become red actually. We can make these numbers there and here, like making the actual effort more than the available team capacity, and we can see green and red, etc. So at that time, what we have to do, we have to either we have to take that requirement out, move it back to the product backlog, or move it from forward to the sprint or something. That's how we can again move it back to the green actually. So this is how you, manage your project planning schedules and team capacity or the person capacity, and you move work items between different stages. So we will see. Probably I'll create a couple of users more so that we can make it more interactive actually. So we'll see it tomorrow. I will add. In the off time, I will add the users. Okay, it takes 5-6 minutes again for me to add. I have to add it in the project, and then I have to add it to the teams. It takes some time. And around 10 minutes it will take.
But those users you can actually record.
Yeah. So what I do first, I will go and create one, give one valid Hotmail account or something. So he will be available. So until unless he creates a subscription with Azure DevOps, he will not be able to use it. But I can still use his ID here, right? It's just like we have a developer available. I can make him a part of my plan, but whether he works or not is a different story. So we will make the user part of this planning, and then we'll see how it works
You
actually.
can add our IDs.
Yeah, you probably can email your email IDs, and then I will add all your. But you need to have a Hotmail account or something like Windows Live or Hotmail account. Give me your email IDs. I will add it here, and I will make you as a contributor, and you can play with this. You can go and add efforts, or you can go and add work items. Or something.
Status can be changed by everyone or only by the admin?
So actually, we need to set up those permissions. You remember, status can be changed by anyone because I am working on some task, right? So let us say I've been assigned 2 tasks. So I started task 1 today. Now what I do, it will be in a to-do stage, right? I will move it to the in progress stage. So the other task is still in the new state. After 3 days, my first task is been finished. What I do now, I will pick up the second task. Now I will change that task status to in progress.
Like that upload committed and
Yeah,
so that they can change.
yeah. Basically, these have to be changed by the product owner.
Yes.
Once it is assigned to you, you can change your task status, not the other status. So you need to make permissions. Basically, like this user can do this user can do this. Otherwise, what happens? I have the tool, but I don't have the control on the people who can do what actually. That comes under your permissions here, right? We can set up actually. We can customize using permissions. We'll show for one actually, not only for boards actually. This is the same case for CI/CD pipelines. This is the same case for test plans. This is the same case for any other thing. But everything is under permissions. So in reality, what happens? Let us say you are working in a DevOps engagement. All the developers are given permission to only execute the job, right? So if you are using Jenkins in your company, they will give you access to the developer. They can log in, they can see the job, what they can execute actually. So I can go and set up the permission. This user ID can see this job and he can execute it. That's it. He cannot configure. So such kind of configurations we have to do it as well, because as a DevOps engineer, you are giving permissions to different people. So once we set up this one, right, we will see one example. Exactly, let us say we will take one user ID, one of yours. We will make you a contributor, a read-only person for one particular area. So let us say let us say CI/CD. I create one pipeline, and I will make one person as an administrator. Another person is only with read-only. He can only see. Another person can only execute it. He cannot do anything. We can do such kind of configurations. Okay, we'll go slowly. Once you picked up, right, once you know all these things, you get familiarized with yourself with the menu items or configurations, and moving around or playing around will be easy. See, right now myself is sometimes I forget actually where exactly the menu item is there, because I'll be working with this one, I will be working with Jenkins and my other architectural designs, so it's not possible to remember it. Sometimes I will, of course, after 1 or 2 minutes it will strike, and then I'll go and chill it actually. So I will stop it here for today, and tomorrow we will also see how you can customize these boards as well. Let us say you have some 100 tasks we have, okay, and what is a typical requirement for any management for any team, right? He would like to see how many tasks are in progress, or how many tasks are related to the design activity, how many tasks are related to the so likewise you have many requirements, right? You have 100, you cannot simply go and open each and every task and see the activity type, or design activity type, or what status it is in. So you can, how we make it more visible, you can apply color schemes actually. So because colors are catchy thing, right? What I can do, I can go and apply something. So okay, all the development activities in progress, keep it in the green color. All the development activities which are not started yet, put it in the yellow color. So you don't need to go and open and see. Such kind of things we will see, and then now we can close the Azure doors. We can get into the repos. Of course, there will be some other activity. Let us say we are talking about the project level. So, but as a person, I might be handling 10 projects. Then I will have I need to have portfolio view, all the projects under one view. That also we can see. So that is not built in the Azure course. There are extensions available in the marketplace. We will add that extension, and then we will show it, because someone has to develop it. Everything doesn't come in built actually. So there are vendors who are creating the extensions, and some of them are free, some of them are paid. Of course, we take the free ones and then see it. So that will make you into another one, like how to use extensions or plugins that are available in the marketplace. The way you are downloading the software and using it on your laptop, in the same way you can use the extensions or plugins, how you are using in Jenkins. In the same way you use it here, download, and you can apply to the entire organization, or you can apply to all the organizations in your it's like you have a software, let us say some SAP software, and you want to create one shared folder and give this make it available to one division of the people. How you do, you will make it a shareable, right? In the same way, you install the plugin, but you don't want this to be available to all the divisions, because if it is a paid, you are paying for this, right? So you can see such kind of things as well in the upcoming session. It takes another 1 or 2 sessions, and we can close it, and then we'll get into the code management. That's it for today, guys.
Can we integrate Jira instead of Azure?
Yeah, we can. So there is a plugin for Jira. I'll quickly show it actually, because other people were also asking this one, right? So Jira is a separate platform, right? So the vendor has to
Purna,
provide.
Purna, I have one question actually.
Yeah.
So the same team agile planning we are doing in Azure, right? So why there will be a necessary again for Jira?
Okay. So in a typical environment, what happens? This Azure or this is all transition activities, right? The companies wanted to move from their one stack to another stack. Let us say most of the people might be using Jira, but some divisions they want to move to Azure DevOps, okay, because of some cost savings or skills availability, etc. These are some rationale behind from moving from one stack to other stack. When you are moving like that, since you are already using Jira for decades, right? You can't simply remove that system from the company and move it to the Azure DevOps, right? But but what happens? you are doing your automated builds, deployments, and everything from the Azure DevOps, but your requirements are there in the Jira. Now the problem is there is no traceability. Which requirement is related to which code or which project in Azure DevOps? You miss the traceability. Because of these things, you can integrate Jira or any other platform for that sake with the Azure DevOps. So you will have the traceability, and you can live. Let us say you make some change in the Jira that can be triggered in Azure DevOps. I mean, the status will be triggered here as well. So that's the traceability purposes.
Okay. So you
So
meant to say like if we have a sprint in Jira, then we don't need to have a sprint in Azure, right? No need to
yeah,
maintain like a two
yeah,
sprint views
yeah,
in two tools.
exactly. If you are managing work items or requirements in Jira, right? You don't need to use Azure boards here. Okay. So what I do, I simply create teams because still I have to make it available to the users, right? And then only I will integrate those requirements like tasks or something with my code repositories here, so that there will be a traceability in future. If some project manager or some business owner or some team want to know, okay, my code is now deployed to the environment, the screen one contains this functionality. So what is the related requirement in my requirements or product backlog? For such kind of traceability, you need to integrate.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So going back to the other persons, let us say this is a Jira integration, right? So the vendor has to provide it, or some third party person has to develop and sell it actually on the marketplace. So the easiest way you do is you go to the portal, you have this suitcase symbol, right? you you have this option, browse marketplace. Okay, once you click it, it will take you to the extensions place. Okay, you can go and search for it actually. Let us say I'll say Jira. So you will have a n number of things here. You just need to go and explore which one is suitable to you for your requirement. And you can say there is something. I'm quickly just checking. There is 26 downloads here. I just don't want to take it. I want to take the one which are having more downloads. There is something 1.4K. So and then you can get started. If it is a 100% integrated one, right, it will simply allow you to go and install into your organization. But if it is having any some offline activities, okay, it will give you the documentation here itself actually. Okay, what to be done, etc. If you see here, if it is having 100% seamless integration, I basically get an option called install. Since it contains some offline activities as well, it is not giving me install, but it is giving me get started. Let's see one more thing as well. So let us say instead of Jira, I will simply say, let's say easiest one will be related to code, because code related thing will be mostly 100% integrated. So there is something called code. I'm not getting into details. Simply click something. It's a free, get
But
it
do
free.
we have
Okay.
official Jira integration?
That was not the official one. I could see Jira. That is from company called Jira. Sorry, Solidify. That's what I see. So
Okay.
we'll see those things, the integration aspects later. So this is a company called Solidify.
Okay.
So you can check the details here basically. I mean, how you need to do, who is doing it, etc., etc. All the support activities. So we'll get into these details later. But this is how you install a plugin or extension to integrate with your Azure DevOps.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it for today, guys. We'll again catch up tomorrow, and we'll look into some other aspects of Azure boards, and then we'll move on to the repos.
Okay. Thank you, Purna.
If somebody is not able to view the screen right in upcoming second, please log off and log in again. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a good day.